Hi, John Maxwell here. On July 4th, my father passed away. And what I'm going to do is share with you a tribute to my dad. And it's the lessons that he taught me. He lived for 98 years and 8 months. This next lesson I'm going to share with you that Dad taught me was a life changer. There's hardly a day goes by in my life that this lesson doesn't come to play somewhere in my leadership journey, and that is Dad taught us to travel the high road. Now, in fact, he in traveling in life, he told us to take the high road, which means turn the other cheek, go the second mile, be kind to people that aren't kind to you. And he, in fact, he said not only travel the high road, but he said travel high, travel long. And when he was talking about traveling long, he'd say go the second mile. And that's a old traditional biblical Jewish kind of a deal that in those days, that if somebody asked you to go with them, you would walk with them a mile. That was what you did. That's how you served people. But if you walked with them the second mile, it was totally voluntary. They had no right to ask you, nor you didn't have any obligation to do it. And so my father was a second mile man. He would always say, travel the second mile with people. He said, there's less traffic on the second mile. I love that. Less traffic on the second. On the first mile, under obligation and rules and legalism, a lot of traffic. Second mile thins out pretty quick. So he'd say, travel the high road, be good to people that maybe aren't always good to you. And not only travel the high road, but travel long, walk that second mile. And they also taught us to travel light. You'd think he's a travel agent, wouldn't you? Travel light. And what he meant by that is just don't carry a bunch of garbage. Don't carry a bunch of baggage. Let it go. If you're going to go mountain climbing, you don't ask the question, how much weight can I take to the top? You get rid of everything you possibly can that will be weight so you can successfully get to the top. And my father said, you can't carry a bunch of baggage to the top of the success mountain. Forgive. Keep short accounts. It's okay. Let it go. Travel light, travel far, travel high. But it was in the high road. That's where life change really happened for me. My father was a president of a college. It's now High Christian University, and for several years. And he had on his college board 2 or 3 people that just thought it was their job to be a pain in his rear end. And honestly, they couldn't have grown the college. My father was very successful, built the college, grew it, I think, 5 times the original enrollment when he left the college. And it was just built a brand new campus, relocated it. Very successful, but he had about 3 or 4 board members that just thought it was their job to be a pain. And I knew about it because I literally went to college where my dad was the president. And think about it for a moment. That's an IQ test. If you go to college where your father is the president, you increase the odds of maybe graduating from college. And so it was in my college years and in the great growing years of the school that he just got a lot of criticism from a few of his board members. And I would hear him and Mom talk about it, and it would make me angry. And I'd say, Dad, stand up. Don't let them do that to you. You're right. They're wrong. And I was kind of militant in the process. And my father would say, son, he said, I just listen. He said, I have the ability. I'm courageous. I stand up. But he said, I value people, and there's times when you just turn the other cheek and walk the high road. And I remember one night, my mother was the librarian. One night I was in the college library after hours. I had a key. Mom was the librarian. And I was clearing the back of the library, just doing some study. And my father didn't know I was in the library, and he slipped into the library. It was at the end of a college board meeting. And he went clear back to a corner. He didn't see me. We went back to a corner and knelt, and he started to pray. And my father prayed out loud. And as he prayed, he was greatly troubled over the board meeting and the difficulties that came out of it and the pain that some of these board members were causing him. And he was asking God to forgive them, and he was asking God to bless them. And I listened to my father pray probably for, 10, 12 minutes. And it changed my life. He never knew that night that I was in the library. He slipped out, and it wasn't until several years later we had a conversation. I said, Dad, I was in the library the night you prayed and asked God to bless people that were persecuting you, and they were just a pain to you. That totally revolutionized and changed my life. And I owe it all to Dad, because in leadership is difficult. I can promise you, you know this to be true, there are no 2 good consecutive days in a leader's life. Wow. Not 2. It's a pain to lead people. People are difficult. That's why you've got to love them. If you don't love them, you shouldn't lead them, because it's too difficult to lead people, difficult people, if you don't love them. But in leadership, traveling that high road, traveling high, traveling far, traveling light, life-changing for me. My dad taught me that lesson.